Good evening, you're watching News Mongolian MNB World. I'm your host, Taner Gabatar. And for our top stories, government announces that state will own 30 strategically important enterprises. Prime Minister of Mongolia, L.Oyun-Erdene, had a telephone conversation with the Prime Minister of Russia, Mishustin. 1,021 new cases and 10 additional deaths reported on Thursday. And for other news, stay tuned. The government announced that 30 strategically important enterprises are required to be owned by the state. Notably, at a regular cabinet meeting on November 10th, the Ministry of Finance put forward a suggestion to improve the governance of wholly or partially state-owned enterprises and should make a number of structural changes.
The Minister of Finance, L.Oyun-Erdene, said during a press conference, discussions are taking place on making structural changes to wholly or partially state-owned enterprises in three ways.
Studies are being carried out on making some structural changes to strategically important enterprises that are required to be owned by the state, enhancing the governance of certain companies by having them become joint stock companies, and a category of unprofitable state-owned enterprises that are not necessary to be operated by the state. At today's cabinet meeting, a presentation was done on strategically important entities that are required to be owned by the state, as well as providing them with a stable policy. As this issue will soon be finalized, it is currently planned to announce further structural changes for the enterprises by the end of this year.
The list of strategically important enterprises that are required to be owned by the state include over 30 companies such as Erdene Mining Corporation, Mongol Rostsvetmet, Erdenes Town Толгой, Mongol Refinery, the airport at Khushuk Valley, thermal power plants located in the capital city and provinces, and entities in charge of transmitting electricity.
The Ministry of Health updated the current COVID-19 status in Mongolia.
In the past 24 hours, 1,021 new cases were confirmed. Unfortunately, 10 patients, 6 women and 4 men, all with underlying health conditions, died of COVID-19 complications. The total death toll stands at 1,777. All new cases were confirmed domestically, after which 672 were confirmed in Ulaanbaatar and 349 were confirmed in the rural provinces. At hospitals nationwide, 11,310 COVID-19 patients are being treated. Out of them, 4,849 show mild symptoms of illness and 253 are in critical condition. Additionally, over 28,500 patients are being treated at home under supervision. As of now, 69.4% of the total population has had the first dose of a vaccine and 65.9% has had the second dose of a vaccine. Also, 475,677 people, or 15% of the population, have received the booster shot so far.
The Prime Minister of Mongolia, L.Oyun-Erdene, had a telephone conversation with the Prime Minister of Russia, Mishustin. The two prime ministers highlighted the successful ongoing celebration of the 100th anniversary of diplomatic relations between Mongolia and Russia. They also discussed enhancing the preparation for the upcoming visit by the President of Mongolia to Russia.
Prime Minister L.Oyun-Erdene noted that the government of Mongolia is taking actions to resolve a number of issues in bilateral relations. As part of this, the government of Mongolia is working on settling the issues surrounding Ulaanbaatar railway loans and lifting transport tariffs, respectively. Parties have discussed possible financing options for the expansion project of the third thermal power plant after the execution of its feasibility study. The Prime Minister of Mongolia also talked about the establishment of a joint organization with the Rosneft company and its subsequent resolution of the fuel supply issue to the airport in the Khushuk Valley. He also highlighted the importance of consistent fuel supply in accordance with the agreed plan. The Russian side expressed their desire to focus on this issue. He noted that Russian enterprises are welcome to engage in energy and railway projects in Mongolia. Both sides agreed to strengthening the infrastructure at ports of entry, improving its operations, and focusing on making ports such as the Altınbalık Free Trade Area and the Ulham port into bridges of transport, logistics, and trade that will fully satisfy the interests of both countries. Both prime ministers exchanged views on the opportunities of cooperation in the framework of the Eurasian Economic Alliance and agreed to negotiate regarding future actions for establishing a free trade agreement based on joint research. They also noted that it's vital to focus on expanding the cooperation in education, culture, and humanitarian sectors, and expressed their desire to continue training staff in these sectors in Russia and enhancing Russian language courses in Mongolia. They also arranged to hold a meeting of the Mongolia-Russia Intergovernmental Commission this year to discuss and resolve the issues discussed. Both prime ministers agreed to have a close working relationship and meet in person when the time will be suitable for both parties.
Erdene Zanbazar's Tara sculptures, including white Tara, green Tara, and her 21 manifestations are displayed for the first time as a complete set starting from this Tuesday. The creator, Erdene, or the highest enlightened Saint Zanbazar, is Mongolia's famed sculptor and religious leader who managed to bring Mongolian art to the world. The exhibition of the Taras is one of the first steps of a virtual museum project the Ministry of Culture announced.
Each Tara sculpture is divine and all of them have special features. For example, scientists have proved that the Tara in her 21 manifestations of cast sculptures were each made with exclusive details, such as body figures and decorating patterns, thus considered being invaluable and of matchless cultural heritage. The set of priceless pieces of art made by Erdene from 1635 to 1723 are on display at the Fine Arts Zanbazar Museum for just 3 days.
This is the first time that the Tara sculptures created by Erdene Zanbazar are presented together as one complete set. Each Tara has her own significance and symbolism. We feel inspired to demonstrate all these divine Taras in front of the general public. The young generation should be aware of these invaluable masterpieces that were created hundreds of years ago. Through these, we hope that our youth will learn more about their culture and understand the history we have and what the true meaning of enlightenment is.
Experts say that the first religious leader and the most prominent figure of Renaissance art of Mongolia, Erdene Zanbazar, embodied the characteristics of nomads and nomadic life in his elegant Buddhist-inspired sculptures.
The school of Erdene Zanbazar is regarded as world-class. It is crucial for us Mongolians to take pride in his creations and show them to others. What is most surprising is that these masterpieces were able to survive the harsh times of the past.
As part of the Month of Cultural Creativity announced by the Ministry of Culture, this exhibition is being held, and this is one of the first steps of developing the virtual museum project according to the Minister of Culture.
Here's the currency exchange rates provided by Mongol Bank. Here's the weather forecast of world's major cities. Well, that's all for today, and thank you for staying with us. We will see you tomorrow with more news and updates. Have a nice evening. Goodbye.